Let's talk about what's going on with Colleen Ballinger. 36-year-old Colleen Ballinger, also known as Miranda Sings, is a popular YouTuber that started gaining popularity in the early 2010s. Her vlogs and comedy videos amassed a huge fan base, most of which were children. But many of those fans are now nearing adulthood, and they're speaking out about the ways that Colleen and her best friend Corey DeSoto use their online platforms to reportedly groom children. A lot of fans are talking about group chats that Colleen was in with them when she was 30 years old, and they ranged in age from 12 to 17. She allegedly used these group chats to talk with the kids, form close relationships with them. She talked about her marriage, sex life, and trauma, and also started asking them about some inappropriate things. A lot of this has come out because one fan in particular who became very close with Colleen, Adam McIntyre, has spoken out. He was 15 at the time, and he became close with Colleen as a fan and also worked with her on some of her social media platforms, but never got compensated for it. These are screenshots from some of the group chats, and you can see Colleen asking things like, "Are you a virgin?" and also asking, "What's your favorite position?" In one video that Colleen did, her and Corey were talking about this lingerie that Corey had on, and they ended up sending that to Adam. Colleen actually admitted to sending Adam McIntyre the lingerie 3 years ago and said it was part of a large inside joke. Adam has also provided evidence that he ran Colleen's social accounts and was never compensated. 3 years ago, when he was 17 years old, Adam McIntyre actually spoke out about Colleen's behavior. But her fans bullied and discredited him at the time, and nobody seemed to believe him. But now the allegations have resurfaced, and Adam is providing all of the proof to show what was actually happening. Now Colleen is facing many allegations of grooming and manipulating her fans who were children. She has yet to speak out or respond to any of this, but there's some very concrete evidence that she was definitely engaging with these kids online in inappropriate ways.
What's up, everybody? All right, you guys, so before we get started, if you're not already following me, make sure you hit that follow button and let's get into this story. So on May 29, 2023, around 4:15 p.m., police was called out to a house fire in Taylorsville, Kentucky. So after responding to this house fire, they enter the home, and that's when they make a shocking discovery. So once they go inside this home, they end up finding 35-year-old Christiana Angel Walker dead. So police have to alert the family, let them know that, look, we found Christiana dead in this apparent house fire. But the family was extremely confused because Christiana has a 7-year-old son by the name of Christian, and she has a husband by the name of Odette. We really don't know when Christiana met Odette, but we know that they met, they ended up falling in love, and they got married.
Friends and loved ones, we gather here today to celebrate the wedding of Christiana and Edith. We have come here to share this formal commitment they made to each other, to offer our love and support to this union, and allow them to start their married life together. Marriage is perhaps the greatest and most challenging adventure of human relationships.
Now, something that is very suspicious is about 2 weeks before this house fire took place and the death of Christiana, Edith adopted Christiana's son, Christian. So now that we know that Christian is missing and Edith is missing, the family is thinking that Christian has to be with Edith. But everybody is extremely confused, and they're trying to understand what took place because later on the police do rule her death as a homicide. So what happened to Christiana, and where is her son and husband?
They say they're still trying to understand why this 35-year-old mother's life tragically ended and her 7-year-old son's whereabouts are unknown.
Not knowing where he's at, is he safe, is someone hurting him? You know, the trauma, he's already lost so much.
On Memorial Day, Kentucky State Police responded to a fire at this home in Taylorsville. When troopers arrived, they found Walker's remains inside. Ashlyn Razor says her best friend was known by loved ones by her middle name, Angel.
It's forever broke. Like, I truly feel like it might get easier eventually, but I don't know when.
So allegedly, we don't know the exact date, but Christiana's father ended up passing away before she got married. Now, when he passed away, he left Christiana 250 acres of land and an inheritance. So after Christiana and her husband get married, they end up opening like this restaurant/bar called Prime. So what I find strange is, although this is allegedly Edith's restaurant, you can see on Christiana's Facebook page that she was promoting it heavily, saying how they was getting renovations done, things to do while they were opening this place. It looked like they were in business together, but on Edith's family's page, they made it seem like this was just his business. Now, his father even posted pictures saying the grand opening of Eddie's business Prime Spirit. But look at Christiana's post. So I found Eddie's father's page on Facebook, and what's really strange is he posts every single day, 3-4 times a day. With his last post only being 19 hours ago, and it was about some citizenship in Liberia. Now, what's strange about this is your daughter-in-law is dead from an apparent homicide, your son is missing, and your daughter-in-law's son is missing as well, and you post nothing about the situation at all. So everybody is innocent until proven guilty. We're not accusing anyone of anything, but it almost seems like this man married her for her inheritance, killed her off, and now he has her son. Now, police are being kind of tight-lipped about this entire situation, but this situation is extremely fishy, y'all. I don't think this was a coincidence that this man adopted her son allegedly 2 weeks before all of this took place. And the fact that their family is not posting anything about Cristiano or anything about the whereabouts of Eddie is strange. I mean, his dad was even posting like baby showers. Like, he's one of those parents that posts everything that happens in his life. So why wouldn't you be trying to post about your son or the situation that's going on?
She was the heart. She was the heart of this family, the love of this family. And it breaks our heart. You know, look around. These people are broken.
Those times, Lord, when we couldn't make it.
From where we are through that driveway, but as you approach the home, you spot this balloon. It's in honor of Walker.
We're trying to bring forth any type of information that anybody can share with us because we're still in the dark about everything.
KSP.
So at the time of this video, right now, Christiana's son, Christian Cox, is still missing. Now his biological father has come forward and he is helping in the search for Christian as well. The biological father is saying that he is completely heartbroken and he wants his son to come home. Now, it has not been confirmed, but I saw a post that said that she was allegedly shot. But as of right now, police are not telling us that. I guess they're just trying to wait it out in order to try to find Christian. Now, you guys, if you have any information in the investigation in the homicide of Christiana Angel Walker, please contact police. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Eddie and Christian Cox, please contact police as well. Now, like I said before, nobody has been accused of anything, but I really want to know you guys' opinion on this case. I find it odd that after getting this inheritance, after getting this 250 acres of land, she's dead and now her son and husband is gone. Police really need to get on this, find out where Eddie is, and bring Christian home safe. Justice for Christiana, you guys, and I'm going to keep y'all updated on this case.
Just from the beginning of everything that happened.
Yes, she presented, I want to say it was around 11:30 at night. I don't have the chart in front of me, so there's some details I'm going to have to sort of guesstimate from my recollection. Her main complaint was for back pain. She was brought in by her mother. We were told that she began having back pain after coming home from cheerleading practice. Sounds like she had gone to bed and then woken her mother up. And so her mother brought her in. And when I initially evaluated her, she really wouldn't sit still. She wouldn't really let me examine her. She had on a very baggy sweatshirt. And, a 19-year-old with back pain, the vast majority of the time, that's not going to be anything serious. But she was just not really acting right. And so I became concerned that there was something else going on. Technically a kidney stone or something like that. I asked the patient and mother if she could be pregnant. The mother said, no, under no circumstances. I've been buying pads for her every month. And so I ordered our normal evaluation, which would be some basic labs, including a pregnancy test, as well as a CAT scan of the abdomen and pelvis to make sure she didn't have a kidney stone or something like that. The pregnancy test came back positive an hour late, maybe 45 minutes later. I can't tell you exactly how much time had elapsed when I became aware that her test was positive. So at that point, we sent it for a blood confirmatory test, which is what we call a quantitative HCG, which tells us it gives us a number instead of just a positive or negative for pregnancy test. It gives us a number, and the reason why that number was really significant was because one of the concerns that you would always have in a young woman who is having back or abdominal pain could be a tubal pregnancy, and so oftentimes we need to correlate the level, the pregnancy hormone level, to determine if it's likely there could be a tubal pregnancy. There's no obstetrics or gynecology at RTG General, and so it would require transferring her. I also verified at that time that we didn't really have the right kind. The ER has an ultrasound machine, but it didn't have the right probe on there. It had what we call the vascular probe, not the endovaginal or the abdominal one, which would be the ways we would look to see if there was a tubal pregnancy or a viable pregnancy. So I was going to have to call the ultrasound tech in. And so it was taking the lab a little bit longer than I would have thought to give us the actual quantitative HCG level. And so at that point, I started getting very nervous because I figured, well, maybe it's not really high, maybe they had to dilute it down. And I wanted to check on the patient, and I asked the nurse where the patient was, and he said, well, she's in the bathroom. And I said, oh my goodness, how long has she been in there? And she'd been in there for like 20 minutes. And so at that point, I became very concerned. And I said, you need to get her out of there right now. So it took a while for them to find a key. The nurse was knocking on the door, and we heard the toilet flush several times. And so at that point, finally, the door opened, and there was just blood everywhere. And so even though we didn't have the right probe for the ultrasound machine, I felt like I'm just going to look, because I had already called the tech in, but the tech wasn't there yet. So I took her directly to the room and did a ultrasound. I couldn't see anything. Again, it was the wrong probe. It's not the right probe to even, I don't even know if you could see any, like it's the kind of probe that we use to put like special IVs in the neck. Mm. So it wasn't the right kind of probe. But she was bleeding a lot. And so we went directly from doing the ultrasound. And again, I was waiting for the tech to come in, to doing a pelvic exam, and it probably took me 10 or 15 minutes to, when I did the pelvic exam, her cervix, the opening to the uterus was just wide open, and there was just blood pouring out, and I was really mystified as to what could be happening, because I thought, well, maybe she's having a miscarriage. It probably took me 10 or 15 minutes to evacuate all the blood, and just as I was finishing with that exam, the charge nurse came into the ER and said, I need you out here right now. And I walked out into the main department. The nurse was still a different nurse was still in the room with the patient trying to get her, after the exam. And the nurse said, the charge nurse said, the housekeeper and the secretary found a dead baby in the trash can. And so I said, well, where? Because now I need to verify if the child was alive. So, they brought me the trash can. I ran into the trauma 2 room, the resuscitation room, and dumped it out. And it did not take me very long to determine that the child was dead. And I made the decision to not attempt resuscitation. Really, the temperature was cool, and I also did not want to contaminate if it was a crime scene. So at that point, then my attention shifted to making sure that the mother was stabilized, because I realized she just delivered a baby. I didn't know where the placenta was. She could die from a postpartum hemorrhage. So I contacted the on-call obstetrician at Loveless Regional in Roswell and said, I need to transfer this patient to you emergently. They said, yep, just send her up. I think the fire department just took her up right away. But before we transferred her, I talked to my team. I said, look, we're not going to talk to her until we have police present. I want witnesses present for our discussion with her. At that point, several of your officers arrived. They arrived very quickly. And we went in and I said, we found a dead baby in the trash. And she said, well, it came out of me and it wasn't moving, so I just put it in the trash. And the mother started screaming at her, I knew it. This is after they both sworn up and down that there was no chance she'd be pregnant. And so at that point, once we got her transferred, I believe that the officers called for, I'm not sure what steps they did, but we made sure we didn't touch the dead baby. We didn't do anything because we did not want to contaminate the crime scene. And that's been documented, and that's it.
What was the baby in the trash can?
I did not find it. It was my secretary, who you should speak to. She told me a few weeks later that she was the one. But I was told it was in a plastic bag, that was tied off and then stuck into a plastic bag, and then they put trash. She put trash in the top to try to hide it.
Okay. So he was out,
Yep, that was what was told to me.
but he was outside the bag when you saw him.
Yes, they had opened the bag up, and I took the trash can, I just turned it upside down and dumped everything on the bed.
Okay. And you didn't see any trauma or anything to the baby or?
Don't have a very good recollection of that. My brain was 100% focused on, is this a patient I should try to resuscitate? And once I made the determination not to resuscitate, all of my attention turned to making sure that the mother didn't die.
Okay.
So did any of the nursing staff find the placenta at the emergency room? No. Okay.
I have no idea what happened with the placenta.
She didn't deliver it at Loveless either.
She probably put it in the toilet, would be my guess.
And would that have been something that was able to be flushed?
It depends on how broken up it was. I mean, if it's torn, you potentially put it in flushable. Or it's possible the housekeeper could have thrown it away without thinking it was just bloody, because there was blood everywhere in the bathroom.
Really? And did she say anything other than after you told her that you found a deceased baby? Did she say anything?
Just that it wasn't moving, so she put it in the trash.
Okay. And mom screaming, I knew it.
It was a really unpleasant experience.
I'm sorry for that. I really am.
Is there anything you think we should know that we haven't asked?
No, I mean, you have autopsy results and you can, obviously make your decisions based on that. She was extremely duplicitous. She lied to us the entire time. It was an extraordinarily difficult case. The nursing staff were distraught. The housekeeper was distraught. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's been a terrible case.
Yes, ma'am. One of the worst I've seen in my career.
I've been a emergency doctor for 20 years.
So this is Lorraine.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hi. And I'll let you guys do today.
Jim is
Arthur Gonzalez. Sorry.
Go ahead, see. Yes, ma'am. First of all, you're not in trouble in any ways.
Yeah, it's just reliving
I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
episode. Yeah. That's what it is.
I apologize for that. So can you just tell us everything from the beginning of your contact on the January 27th, either the day it happened, with either party, the mom or the baby, whichever one came first, and then to the end of contact with either? Oh, but can I start with your full name?
Lorraine Romero.
Lorraine Romero? All right. Okay, and so can you start from the beginning for me?
Okay, so because I do 24/7 call for ultrasound, so I got a call. I couldn't even tell you the time, maybe it was 8:30, 9 o'clock.
At night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I come in and they asked me to come in for a stat ultrasound. Apparently the patient had delivered the baby and thought that there was still placental tissue because the amount of bleeding she was having. So I thought, okay, great, I'll be right there. So when I got here, I go and I get my ultrasound machine. I go directly to the ER. And first of all, when I came to the hospital, I noticed that there were about 6 cop cars. Okay, so I thought, oh, please don't let it be my patient. But anyway, so I get my machine, I go directly to the ER department, And I said, where's the room that I'm supposed to go into? And they said room 2. So I'm taking my machine over to the room, and there's 2 cops in front of the door, and there's 2 police officers inside the room that the patient was in. So I'm getting ready to go in. It was a little bit of chaos because there's quite a few. The nurses were around. The physician, the ER doctor, was sitting at her desk, and 2 ER nurses stopped me and said, "You do not need to do the ultrasound. You could go ahead and leave." I thought, that's fine. Grabbed my machine, started to head back to my department, and then the physician, I can't even remember who the ER doctor was. I can't remember her name. But anyway, she said, "Lorraine, do me a favor." And her hands were covering her face, and I saw that she was distraught. And I said, "What can I do? What's wrong?" And she said, "I really do need for you to go in and do the ultrasound." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And we're still looking at the same diagnosis. And she mentioned to me, she said, "No, this is disturbing." She pulled me aside. She was whispering to me, and she said, apparently what the patient did was she walked in, she goes to the restroom and delivers the baby in the restroom, and then puts the baby in a bag, because the garbages that we have throughout the departments are pretty tall, and there's those large garbage bags that are pretty sturdy. So I guess she delivers it in the bathroom and pulls placenta and everything out, throws the baby in the bag, goes in the garbage. And how she ended up in the room for me to scan her, I have no idea. I didn't get details.
No, that's fine. Just what you did.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so I go into the room with her, and I know that I need to scan her, but I need to scan her through the vagina, not through the belly, because I noticed that there was a significant amount of blood on the table. And there was a police officer in there, and I was a little bit uncomfortable with him being there, and so was she. So I asked him if he could step out and just stand by the door. So he did that. So I didn't want to have a conversation with her after I was given this information. But she was talking to me, and while I'm trying to get things set up, and she says, "I don't know what's going on." She said, "I didn't know I was pregnant. I'm a cheerleader. I started gaining a lot of weight. My clothes were tight. I was taking birth control pills." So she said, "This didn't make any sense to me. I don't know what to tell you." And I did my scan, and then I left.
And that was the end of your contact with her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other than her telling you that she was pregnant, taking birth control, and her clothes got tighter, did she tell you anything else that may come to mind?
And did you use the belly ultrasound or the vaginal?
Through the vagina.
Through the vagina.
Yeah, and still there was, some tissue because. Yeah, and still there was, some tissue because when you deliver, whether it's a normal delivery or not, sometimes still placenta tissue can still be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was having a significant amount of bleeding. But after that, I stopped, I told the doctor, and I sent the report out to be read, and that was it.
So
And it wasn't till the morning, too, when I walked in, and this is Artesia. I'm not from Artesia. I just work here during the week, and word gets around, and I just was hearing stories of what really happened. I never knew the details until I walked in the next day.
Okay.
And I just didn't say anything.
And how long have you been a
ultrasound
tech?
For about 20 years.
Okay. So, is there any other trauma or anything to that part of the body that would lead you to believe that she didn't give birth, or?
No, because, and after talking to the ER doctor, she was obviously in labor,
Mm-hmm.
and I think she knew that, and so my assumption was, she panics because when she was talking to me, she was she was talking pretty rapid, and she was like, I don't understand. So, was it all mental, psychological, who knows, but she definitely knew what she was doing and what was doing was wrong because of the way she was talking to me, just stating, I didn't realize I was pregnant and, but I'm taking birth control, so, she was panicked, but, I didn't see her being in a state of mind where she did not know what she was doing. And that's just my perception working with women, well, not just women and men, and scanning in general, who's a little bit off, and I didn't get that with her. She was pretty much, and she felt it. You could tell that she was, I don't know if I should say if she was worried or she was concerned because she knew what she did was in the wrong. That was just the impression I got for her.
Is there anything that we didn't ask that you think we should know about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't read up on cards either. My apologies. Your HR lady has my contact information.
And mine as well.
And so if you have anything you want to add that you didn't think of right now that we didn't ask, let us know.
I can call you.
And you give us a call, you can email us, anything like that, okay?
Okay.
No, we truly appreciate what you do.
No problem.
Thank you.
And if it bothers you, talk to someone about it, okay?
Yeah.
Please do. Don't hold it in, alright?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you both.
Sir. Okay.
Breaking news, they have now provided an update on the girl who was stabbed over 15 times by her ex-boyfriend while eating in a restaurant. A mother and daughter went to a local restaurant, and when they saw her ex, they immediately tried to leave. However, within 20 seconds, her ex-boyfriend was charging them. When they got out to the parking lot, he held the girl down by her arm and stabbed her at least 15 times. Her mother and other bystanders were able to intervene and pull him off. It was at that time he attempted to take his own life. The victim, Madeline, was then airlifted to the hospital where her family says she suffered major spinal cord injuries and is currently paralyzed. About a week before the crime took place, the mother filed a criminal complaint against her daughter's ex-boyfriend. Within the report made by her mother, she claimed that he was harassing her, following her on her way to school, leaving notes on her car, and messaging her from fake social media accounts. The victim's mother and other bystanders who intervened suffered minor injuries. However, the suspect suffered life-threatening injury. If he continues to recover, they said they plan on charging him with attempted murder. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.